Emma's tears fell silently as she placed the handmade birthday card on Michael's empty desk. For 3 years, she'd loved this single father who couldn't see past his own pain to notice what was right in front of him. But tonight would change everything between them forever. If this story touches your heart, please hit that like button and subscribe to see more emotional journeys that remind us love often finds us when we least expect it, but need it most. Michael Parker stared at the ceiling of his bedroom, listening to the soft patter of rain against the window. Another sleepless night. The digital clock on his nightstand read 3:17 a.m., its red numbers casting an eerie glow across the room. In 4 hours, he would need to get up, make breakfast for Lily, and drive her to school before heading to work. The thought alone exhausted him. 5 years had passed since Sarah's death, yet the emptiness in their home remained. Michael had learned to function, to work, to parent, to exist, but not to truly live again. At 38, he had resigned himself to a life of quiet routine, centered entirely around his 10-year-old daughter. What Michael didn't know was that Emma Reynolds, his administrative assistant for the past 3 years, had been quietly falling in love with him. Each morning, she greeted him with a warm smile and fresh coffee, exactly how he liked it. She remembered Lily's school events when he forgot, subtly reminding him with calendar invites. She stayed late when he needed help with presentations, listened when he rarely opened up about his struggles as a single parent, and noticed the small changes in his demeanor that signaled good days from bad. Emma never intended to fall for her boss. At 32, she had her own history of heartbreak and had built careful walls around her heart. But there was something about Michael's quiet strength, his devotion to his daughter, and the rare moments when he laughed that made those walls crumble despite her best efforts. The office knew. Of course they did. The way Emma's eyes followed Michael when he walked through the room, how she anticipated his needs before he voiced them, the slight blush that colored her cheeks when he thanked her for something, it was obvious to everyone except Michael himself. You should just tell him, her friend Jenna had urged over lunch the previous week. What's the worst that could happen? Emma had stirred her soup absently. He could fire me. He could be uncomfortable. He could reject me. Take your pick. Or, Jenna countered, he could feel the same way and be too wrapped up in his grief to realize it. But Emma knew better. Michael Parker saw her as nothing more than a reliable employee. Someone who kept his professional life running smoothly. Nothing more. Until today, his birthday, when everything would change. The morning began like any other. Michael dropped Lily off at school, promising to pick her up from her friend's house later that evening. He arrived at the office at 8:30, expecting to find Emma at her desk with his coffee and the day's schedule. Instead, he found only the coffee and a small, handmade card propped against the monitor. Curious, he opened it. Inside, in Emma's neat handwriting, was a simple message, "Happy birthday, Michael. Your strength inspires me every day. Emma." It wasn't the first birthday card she'd given him, but something about the word struck him differently today. He glanced toward her empty desk, wondering where she was. His phone buzzed with a text from her, "Sorry for the late notice. Taking a personal day. Everything for your Johnson meeting is prepared on your desk. Emma." Michael frowned. In 3 years, Emma had never taken an unexpected day off. Something felt wrong, but he had no right to pry. He tucked the card into his jacket pocket and tried to focus on work. The day dragged without Emma's efficient presence. Michael found himself glancing at her empty desk repeatedly, realizing how much he'd come to depend on her quiet competence, her gentle reminders, her subtle humor that occasionally broke through his serious demeanor. By late afternoon, an unsettling feeling had taken root in his chest. He pulled out the birthday card again, studying the careful penmanship. Had there always been something more in her kindness? Had he been too blind to see it? His phone rang, Lily's school. His daughter had fallen during gym class and sprained her ankle. Could he come pick her up? The Johnson meeting would have to wait. At the school nurse's office, he found Lily sitting with an ice pack on her ankle, trying not to cry. "It's okay, sweetheart," he said, gathering her into his arms. "We'll get you home and comfortable." "But Dad," Lily protested as he carried her to the car, "what about your birthday surprise?" Michael paused. "What birthday surprise?" Lily's eyes widened in horror. "I wasn't supposed to say anything. Emma's been helping me plan it for weeks. She's at our house right now setting everything up." The revelation hit Michael like a physical blow. Emma had taken a personal day to prepare a birthday surprise for him? With his daughter? "When did you and Emma plan this?" he asked carefully as he drove home. Lily fidgeted with her seatbelt. "We've been talking about it for ages. Emma comes over sometimes when Mrs. Garcia is watching me. She helps me with my homework and tells me stories about Mom." Michael nearly swerved off the road. "She tells you about your mother?" Lily nodded. "I asked her to. Mrs. Garcia doesn't know much, and you get sad when I ask too many questions. Emma found pictures of Mom online from her charity work and printed them for me. She said Mom was beautiful and brave, just like me." Michael's throat tightened. All this time, Emma had been forming a relationship with his daughter, not to overstep, but to fill a void he hadn't been able to address himself. When they pulled into the driveway, Michael noticed Emma's small blue car parked on the street. As he helped Lily from the car, the front door flew open, and Emma appeared, her face flushed with excitement that quickly turned to concern when she saw Lily's condition. "What happened?" she asked, rushing down the steps. "Sprained ankle in gym class," Michael explained, watching Emma's face carefully. How had he never noticed the depth of emotion in her eyes before? "Oh no. The surprise is ruined," Lily lamented as Emma helped them inside. Michael was unprepared for what awaited him. The living room was transformed with tasteful decorations, nothing garish or overwhelming, just simple touches that made the space feel warm and celebratory. A homemade banner reading, "Happy Birthday Michael," hung across the fireplace. On the dining table sat a cake, clearly homemade, with a single candle. But what caught his breath were the photographs arranged on the mantel, pictures of him and Sarah that he'd packed away years ago, unable to look at them without pain. Beside them were newer photos, Michael and Lily at the beach last summer, at her school play, building a snowman in the backyard. Moments of joy he hadn't fully appreciated at the time. "Emma," he whispered, "how did you?" "I'm so sorry," she interrupted, misreading his emotion as anger. "I shouldn't have come into your house. Lily had the key, and Mrs. Garcia was here supervising until 20 minutes ago. I just wanted," her voice broke. "I just wanted you to remember that your life still has beautiful moments worth celebrating." Michael carefully set Lily on the couch, arranging a pillow under her ankle. "Sweetheart, can you stay here for a minute? I need to talk to Emma in the kitchen." In the kitchen, Emma was hastily gathering her things, blinking rapidly to hold back tears. "I'll go. This was presumptuous of me." "Emma, stop." Michael gently took her arm. "Why did you do all this?" She finally looked up at him, and the raw emotion in her eyes stunned him. "Because you deserve to be celebrated. Because Lily needs to see her father happy sometimes. Because," she stopped, shaking her head. "Because what?" he pressed. "Because I care about you," she whispered. "More than I should. More than is appropriate. I've tried not to, Michael, I really have." The admission hung between them, changing the air in the room. Michael suddenly saw the past 3 years through a different lens, every coffee, every late night at the office, every gentle reminder about Lily's events. It hadn't just been professional competence. It had been love. "I never meant for you to know," Emma continued, her voice trembling. "I was going to leave before you got home. The surprise was supposed to be from Lily. I was just helping her." "How long?" Michael asked quietly. Emma looked away. Does it matter? You're my boss. I've overstepped. I should go. Emma. He said her name with such intensity that she froze. How long have you felt this way? A tear slipped down her cheek. Since the Christmas party 2 years ago. You were sitting alone, watching everyone else dance. You looked so lonely, but when Lily ran up to you, your whole face changed. I knew then that I was in trouble. Michael remembered that night. He'd felt like an outsider, a widower at a celebration of joy. But he didn't remember seeing Emma watching him. Why didn't you say anything? Emma laughed sadly. What would I have said? Excuse me, boss, I know you're still grieving your wife, but I've fallen in love with you. You weren't ready. You might never be ready. I accepted that. But you still did all this. Michael gestured to the decorated house. You still formed a relationship with my daughter. You still brought me coffee every morning with a smile. Because that's what love is, Emma said simply, more tears falling now. It's caring about someone's happiness even when they can't give you what you want in return. The truth of her words struck Michael deeply. In his grief, he'd forgotten what love looked like in its purest form, selfless, patient, kind. Emma had loved him and Lily quietly, expecting nothing in return. Dad? Lily called from the living room. Is Emma leaving? She can't leave. We haven't had cake yet. Emma wiped her tears quickly. I should go. This is too complicated now. No, Michael said firmly, surprising himself. Stay. Please. The evening unfolded in a way Michael could never have anticipated. They ate Emma's homemade cake, chocolate with buttercream frosting, his favorite, though he couldn't remember ever telling her that. Lily, despite her ankle, insisted on giving him her gift, a handmade scrapbook filled with memories of the three of them over the past year. Pages and pages of moments he hadn't realized they'd shared. Emma helped me make it, Lily explained proudly. She said memories are the most important gift. As Lily chattered excitedly, Michael watched Emma across the table. She was still embarrassed, still uncertain, but the connection between her and his daughter was undeniable. They had inside jokes. They finished each other's sentences. Somehow, without his noticing, Emma had become part of their family. After Lily went to bed, her ankle properly iced and elevated, Michael found Emma washing dishes in the kitchen. You don't have to do that, he said, taking a towel to dry. Force of habit, she replied, not meeting his eyes. Michael, about what I said earlier. Did you mean it? He interrupted. Emma's hands stilled in the soapy water. Every word. Michael set down the towel and gently turned her to face him. I've been living half a life for 5 years. I convinced myself that was enough, that as long as Lily was okay, nothing else mattered. I didn't let myself see what was right in front of me. You don't have to say anything, Emma whispered. I never expected. I know you didn't. That's what makes it real. Michael took a deep breath. I can't promise I'm ready. I can't promise I won't mess this up. But I'd like to try. If you're willing. Emma's eyes filled with fresh tears, but these were different. Try what exactly? Dinner. Just the two of us. A real date, not a birthday surprise or a work meeting. I want to know Emma Reynolds, not just my amazing assistant who apparently knows me better than I know myself. The smile that bloomed across her face was worth every moment of uncertainty. I'd like that. As Michael walked Emma to her car later that night, a weight he'd carried for years felt lighter. He wasn't betraying Sarah's memory by opening his heart again. If anything, he was honoring the love they'd shared by remembering how to live fully. Thank you, he said as Emma opened her car door. Not just for today, but for the past 3 years. For seeing me when I couldn't see myself. For loving Lily. For waiting. Emma looked up at him, her eyes reflecting the streetlight above. Some people are worth waiting for. In that moment, with the gentle spring rain beginning to fall around them, Michael Parker did something he hadn't done in 5 years. He leaned forward and kissed Emma softly, a promise of possibilities neither had dared to imagine until today. 6 months later, Michael stood in the same kitchen, watching Emma help Lily with her science project. They were laughing, heads bent together over a model of the solar system, completely in sync. The sight filled his heart with a joy he'd thought was lost to him forever. Emma looked up, catching his gaze, and smiled, that same warm smile that had greeted him every morning for years, but that he'd only recently learned to truly see. "What?" she asked, noticing his intense expression. Michael shook his head, smiling. "I was just thinking about how sometimes the things we need most are right in front of us all along. We just need to be ready to see them." Lily looked between them, rolling her eyes with the dramatic flair of a now 11-year-old. "Dad's being mushy again." Emma laughed, the sound filling the once quiet house with life. "Get used to it, kiddo. I think your dad's making up for lost time." And he was. Every day, Michael found new ways to express the love he'd kept locked away for too long, not just to Emma, but to Lily, to friends he'd distanced himself from, to life itself. Sometimes healing doesn't come in the way we expect. Sometimes it arrives in a daily cup of coffee, in a birthday surprise, in the tears of someone brave enough to love without guarantee. For Michael Parker, it came in the form of Emma Reynolds, who loved him long before he was ready to be loved again, and waited patiently until he was. As they sat together that evening, a family formed not by obligation but by choice, Michael silently thanked the universe for second chances, for persistent hearts, and for the courage to begin again. Because sometimes, the greatest love stories don't start with love at first sight. They start with someone who sees you at your worst and chooses to stay anyway, someone who understands that love isn't just a feeling, but a daily choice to care, to support, to remain. Emma had made that choice every day for 3 years. Now, it was Michael's turn to choose her back, not just today, but for all the days to come.